There are teams already doing Black Friday sales for playoff tickets. There are some the league is afraid that there are some teams' games where you could get into the playoff game for $6. That is how low some of these ratings might be and how low some of these ticket prices might be. Let's get into it. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification. Let's go. WNBA is in a frenzy right now.
$9. That's the price of a WNBA playoff ticket right now. In some sections, they've dropped to as low as $6. This isn't a pricing error. This is a league in absolute freefall, and it's all because one player is gone. Teams are running desperate, Black Friday-style sales just to avoid the global embarrassment of empty arenas on national television. The most hyped, most watched season in the history of women's basketball has ended in a catastrophic collapse. The Caitlyn Clark phenomenon is officially over for now, and its sudden death has exposed a shocking truth about the WNBA that no one is ready to admit.
Fast. The WNBA is in a panic right now. The WNBA higher-ups are panicking. They don't know what's going to happen. I already let y'all know. I showed y'all the numbers that they was concerned about the playoff ratings and what they will be for the networks. They're concerned about it already. No Caitlyn Clark here to carry everybody. They don't know how these numbers are going to look. Tickets are they're already doing Black Friday sales for playoff tickets. There are teams already doing Black Friday sales for playoff tickets.
Before the crash, there was the boom. And the boom had a name, Caitlyn Clark. For the last 2 years, she wasn't just a basketball player. She was a cultural phenomenon, a force of nature that single-handedly rewrote the rules of sports economics. When Clark was on the court, the Indiana Fever wasn't just a team, it was the red-hot center of the sports universe. Home games, once sparsely attended, were now averaging over 17,000 fans, a figure that astonishingly surpassed the city's own NBA team. This wasn't just loyal fans showing up. This was an entirely new audience, one that had never paid attention to the WNBA before. Families from Iowa, college students, and casual sports fans who had only heard her name on social media were flocking to arenas, creating an electric atmosphere the league had only dreamed of.
It's $9. This is the cheapest it's been to get into an Indiana Fever game all year. This is actually the cheapest it's been. Look, I still think it's going to be nearly a sellout because I'm sorry, if I lived anywhere near Indiana, if it was 10 quid, I'd go to the game. I'd absolutely go to the game. I don't care. I'll pay $10. It's cheaper to be in the arena watching the game than it is to sit at home. Probably more expensive than it would cost to go to pay for one game on Fever Direct, I'd say, if that's a thing.
The demand was so biblical that it warped the reality of the entire league. Opposing teams had to move their home games against the Fever to massive NBA arenas just to accommodate the tidal wave of interest. The Washington Mystics abandoned their cozy 200-seat home for a 14,000-seat venue, and the Chicago Sky upgraded from their standard arena to the 20,000-seat United Center, home of the Chicago Bulls. This was the Caitlyn Clark effect in action, and the numbers behind it were mind-boggling. Economic analysis revealed she was personally responsible for an estimated 26.5% of the WNBA's entire economic activity, generating close to $1 billion for cities, networks, and the league itself. A billion with a B. She was more than a star. She was the golden goose, and the league was joyfully collecting golden eggs every single night. But that golden age was about to come to a screeching, violent halt.
It's understandable in this era to figure that tickets for playoff games are more expensive than the regular season, but Fever tickets for Tuesday night remain very affordable. $12, $13. I don't know what they're going to lie about as far as attendance goes. We're going to get into that momentarily. There are tons of tickets, hundreds of tickets available, if not thousands of tickets still available for tonight's game at a cheap price of a hoagie sandwich and a bag of chips from Wawa. You know, during Hoagie Fest, nonetheless. A hoagie and a bag of chips from Wawa, you can get into Gainesbridge Arena.
On September 4th, the unthinkable happened. an announcement dropped that sent a seismic shockwave through the sports world. Caitlyn Clark would not return for the rest of the season, including the playoffs, due to a lingering groin injury she had been battling. In that single moment, it was as if someone had flipped a giant switch, plunging the entire WNBA from blinding, brilliant light into near-total darkness. The team that had just set a franchise record for wins and was proudly marching toward its first home playoff game since 2016 suddenly became a complete afterthought. The deafening, joyous buzz that followed Clark everywhere she went, from morning sports shows to viral TikToks, was replaced by an unnerving, deafening silence.
WNBA is in a frenzy right now. The cash cow is not available to play. The golden goose is not available right now. That is Caitlyn Clark. So now everyone has to get their numbers on their own. We saw Caitlyn Clark bring in a whopping 1.8 million viewers for her first playoff game versus the Connecticut Sun last season. That was more than all of the other playoff games that was played that day combined. More than all of the other playoff games played that day combined. WNBA's in panic mode.
The playoffs, which should have been the triumphant coronation of a historic season, were instantly reframed. They would no longer be a celebration. Instead, they became a live, public autopsy of a league that had just lost its heart, its soul, and its one true main attraction. The sports world held its breath, wondering what would happen next. Would the new fans she created stick around to support the team? Would the league's other stars rise to the occasion and keep the momentum going? Or was the entire enterprise built on a foundation far more fragile than anyone was willing to admit? The answer would come swiftly, and it would be utterly devastating.
Last year, the cheapest ticket available to see the Indiana Fever at the Connecticut Sun in the first round of the 2024 WNBA playoffs, $133. Let's just say it's not near that expensive this year. It's not. So right there, Indiana Fever just had Caitlyn Clark cut a WWE promo. I'm waiting for CM Punk to run out of the tunnel. There's Mr. Punk right there.
The aftermath of the announcement was immediate, brutal, and painfully quantifiable. The proof wasn't in opinions or hot takes. It was right there on Ticketmaster and StubHub, laid bare for everyone to see. The contrast was almost comical in its tragedy. Last year, the absolute cheapest ticket to see the Fever in a playoff game was $133. This year, without Clark, prices plummeted to just $9. You could get into the building for less than the cost of a beer and a hot dog. The most jaw-dropping evidence, however, was the price of courtside seats. The same premium spots where celebrities and high rollers were happily paying thousands of dollars were now being offered for a mere $200. $200. You'd pay significantly more for mediocre seats at an NBA regular season game against a losing team.
You can get courtside seats for $200. It is $200 to go sit courtside. Second row courtside behind the basket is $200. 1 to 3 tickets. It is $200 to sit courtside this game. This is, in fact, the cheapest. It is cheaper to go to this Fever game. This is the cheapest it's been to get into the Fever all year. Why? Why is it the cheapest? Because, well, you see, these tickets went on sale after the Indiana Fever announced Caitlyn Clark was going to be injured for the season.
The message from the market, the collective voice of thousands of fans, was crystal clear and unforgiving. They were never paying to see the Indiana Fever, they were paying to see Caitlyn Clark, and without her the product was worth next to nothing. The thousands of empty seats in the arena weren't just empty chairs, they were a loud, clear, and humiliating referendum on the league's perceived value without its singular superstar. The excitement, the energy, the feeling of being at a major cultural event, it had all evaporated overnight, replaced by the grim reality of a bargain bin product nobody seemed to want.
The last time the Indiana Fever posted a video of Caitlyn Clark talking was almost a month ago, but they know who they need to post when it's time to sell tickets. Damn! Putting CC front and center only when it's time to sell tick. Oh boy. Oh boy, and we're talking about the tickets, folks. Don't hate the player, hit the game. I'm just a lonely messenger. That's it. Look at these ticket prices. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. Look at these ticket prices. $13, $12, $55 for section 100, $27, $147 for section 5, $55 for section 19, $330 for courtside seats. Oh, snap.
This wasn't just an Indiana problem, it was a league-wide pandemic of disinterest. The data from earlier in the season, when Clark had missed a handful of games, had already sounded the alarm bells for anyone paying attention. During a 5-game stretch she sat out, the WNBA's overall national television viewership dropped by a staggering 55%. To put that in perspective, for every 10 people who tuned in to watch the league when she was playing, more than 5 of them simply changed the channel when she was gone. Games that were easily pulling in over 1 million viewers, numbers that rivaled major men's sports, were suddenly struggling to even crack 350,000, sending them back to the niche sports category.
But I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion, but not like this. This news is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA.
Even the WNBA All-Star Game, which is supposed to be the league's premier showcase of all its talent, was not immune. Clark was voted to be a team captain, but her injury prevented her from participating. The result? Viewership for the event cratered by 36%, as one stunned analyst pointedly asked, "Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport?" Golf without Tiger definitely dropped, but not like this. The truth was becoming impossible to ignore. The WNBA didn't just have a star on its hands, it had a full-blown dependency. The entire ecosystem of its newfound success, the TV ratings, the corporate sponsorships, the mainstream relevance, was dangerously tethered to the health of one 23-year-old.
This is wild. They're already doing deals. Like they're trying to give you a free tire change. They're trying to give you a free car wash and all types of stuff to get out to these games. This is wild. Look at how empty this arena is. Look at how empty it is. The cheapest ticket, $6. Yeah, I could spot a nickel on the floor right there, row 2, section D1.
As the ticket prices hit rock bottom and images of empty arenas went viral, the whispers and controversies began to swirl online. Fans who had invested emotionally and financially, buying expensive season tickets with the promise of watching a generational talent, felt betrayed. A theory quickly gained traction on social media and fan forums. The theory of a code red. This was the idea that Clark's season-ending decision wasn't just a simple medical call. Was it truly her team of doctors who made the final decision, or did the franchise itself, terrified of a more catastrophic injury to its billion-dollar asset, order her to be shut down? The timing felt suspicious to many, and the franchise's lack of transparency only fueled the fire of speculation.
But Caitlyn Clark was first. You know what would have also put asses in seats? Indiana Fever? Clearing Caitlyn Clark to play the game of basketball. That would have done it. I promise you. I promise you that would have done it. Again, I believe we deserve to know who ordered the code red. It's a lot different if it is Caitlyn Clark and her people believe that, and her medical team believe that she could not play. If it was Stephanie White in the Indiana Fever, I believe that changes everything, as far as I'm concerned.
Making matters worse was the team's marketing strategy. Even after the shutdown announcement, the Indiana Fever continued to use Caitlyn Clark's face, name, and electrifying highlights in their promotional materials to sell playoff tickets. Fans saw this as a cynical and deceptive bait and switch. They were selling the promise of a superstar they knew for a fact would not be there. It felt like the franchise was trying to squeeze every last dollar out of a phenomenon they may have intentionally put on ice, creating a deep sense of resentment among the very fan base they had worked so hard to build. The situation was no longer just about an injury, it was about trust.
In this back and forth from all the WNBA players that the league is not just Caitlyn Clark. Stop acting like the league is not just Caitlyn Clark. There are other people who are doing things. So Caitlyn Clark has been injured. So she hasn't been playing. Since Caitlyn Clark went down, the WNBA ratings have dropped over 55%
Yikes.
across the board.
Hey, guess what, guys?
The league is Caitlyn Clark.
The league is Caitlyn Clark. She is the WNBA.
This entire fiasco has dragged an uncomfortable truth out into the light, a truth that the league and many of its veteran players have tried to deny for months. Throughout the season, a consistent narrative was pushed by critics and players alike. The league is not just Caitlyn Clark. They argued that the WNBA was filled with incredible talent, and that the media's obsessive focus on one player was disrespectful to everyone else who had worked their whole lives to get there. But now the numbers are speaking louder than any opinion ever could. With Clark gone, the viewership has evaporated, the ticket sales have vanished, and the national conversation has gone completely silent. The fans have voted with their wallets, and their verdict is in. For a massive, game-changing portion of the audience, the league is just Caitlyn Clark.
So, like a lot of people, I started following the WNBA, and I'm sorry, I hate to sound cliche, but it is because of Caitlyn Clark. I flew my family to Indy to catch the game opener, and it was just such an amazing thing to see. We fell in love with the city. We, of course, also fell in love with the Pacers, and we followed every game since.
These new fans aren't loyal to the WNBA as an institution. They are loyal to her as a transcendent star. They didn't fall in love with the abstract concept of women's basketball. They fell in love with her audacious logo three-pointers, her brilliant no-look passes, and her fiery, infectious competitive spirit. The league didn't anoint her as its face, the fans did by the millions. The other players may be talented, dedicated professionals, but the brutal reality of the entertainment business is that talent alone doesn't sell tickets or drive billion-dollar media deals. Star power does. And the WNBA has just learned that nearly all of its star power resides in one person.
Is a superstar from top to bottom. You never seen a woman shoot the ball like that or pass the ball like that and has that fire. You downplay it, you diminish it, you try to kill it. You almost killed it, but thank God Caitlyn Clark is a strong human being. But the fact that they're trying to replace her with someone subpar talent, subpar entertainment value is ridiculous, and try to give credit to those who don't really deserve credit and try to have players to be the face who aren't really the face. The one thing about the face of the league, it's not chosen by the league, it's chosen by the fans.
In the end, those $9 playoff tickets tell a story far bigger than one player's unfortunate injury. They are a stark, sobering warning about the critical difference between sustainable, organic growth and a fragile, unsustainable dependency on a single personality. The WNBA spent the year rightfully celebrating its unprecedented success, record-shattering attendance, viewership numbers that broke all-time records, and a massive new media rights deal on the horizon that promised to change the financial future of the league. But this crisis has revealed that their gleaming new empire might be built on a foundation of sand, held up entirely by the health and performance of one 23-year-old. The Indiana Fever's playoff run has become the most affordable and most telling disappointment in modern sports. The real question isn't whether the league can survive this one disastrous playoff series. It's what this harsh lesson teaches them about the future. Can they use Clark's gravity to elevate other stars into the national spotlight? Or is the fate of their entire enterprise forever tied to the health of a single golden goose, who for now can no longer fly? The empty seats in Indiana are not just an absence of fans, they are a loud, silent warning